Okay guys, so you've had a lateral ankle sprain. So first we just want to know, what does it mean to have a lateral ankle sprain? So there's a lot of different kind of classifications and categorizations of what ankle sprains are. I'm going to keep things super simple and we're just going to narrow it down to this one. The anterior talofibular ligament. So that is the most commonly torn ligament that occurs during a sprain, okay? Sometimes the ligament doesn't quite tear, you have partial tears, but nonetheless, when your foot rotates, there we go. So when your foot rotates like this, so your fifth toe goes down and your first toe goes up, that's exactly when the ligament, the anterior talofibular ligament over here, has met its match. Okay? So we know they're one of the most common orthopedic problems ever. However, fun fact, 20 to 40% of people will go on to develop chronic ankle pain. Chronic ankle pain, guys. So because people aren't taking care of their ankles and they're blowing it off, they know they should rest, ice, compress, elevate. There's a lot more to this that needs to be done. And so in terms of how can we help, what are we going to do here at Prime Movement? We need to make sure that your balance is regained. So you may not know this, but there's a lot of afferent receptors in those ligaments, meaning these receptors, they send a lot of information up to the brain. They tell you where you're at in space. There's some balance that needs to be retrained. There's some strengthening that needs to be retrained. God forbid we don't want mechanical ankle instability where there's radiographic evidence of increased space between your joints and you're not taking care of it, you're not strengthening yourself, and all of a sudden you develop what I know as osteochondral lesions, which can mean you're having some bone damage. You don't want to go down that road. So how can I help here? In addition, just knowing that it's important to take care of your ankle sprain. It might be one visit, it might be 2 visits with your local healthcare practitioner, but take care of that thing. Don't let that thing get worse, and at least then you'll know that you've done everything you needed to avoid persistent pain after your ankle sprain. So hopefully that clears up some murky waters about what it is and why it's so important to take action after you've had an ankle sprain. Okay, thanks guys.